Hello, my name is Max. Welcome back to How to Make a Video. Today's episode is about voice health. Everybody who is using his voice a lot has had problems with their voice. Sooner or later you will get problems with your voice. Either you will get a sore throat, right? Or you will get hoarse. Now this episode is about how you can prevent that from happening in the first place. Number one problem, sore throats. Why does your throat get sore to begin with? Our story begins in our nose. Why in our nose? One of the main things that your nose does, and that my nose does, and that everybody's nose does, is to keep the air moist. It keeps the air moist. That's the reason that your nose starts running when it's really cold outside. Because when it's cold, the air is dry. So your nose has to pump a lot of water into the air to actually make it moist. And when you do sports, it starts running because you breathe such a high volume of air. So again, it's a lot of moisture over a lot of water over a short period of time that your nose has to put into the air. Why does your nose do that? The answer is that everything nose down needs to be kept moist. Your lungs, your bronchia, and your throat needs to be kept moist. Otherwise, they cannot work correctly anymore. If your lungs, your bronchia, or your throat gets dry, they cannot really defend themselves anymore against bacteria, against viruses. And then it's really easy for you to get a sore throat. Since I started making 2 videos a day, I got sick really often before I started taking actually care of my voice, because my throat got sore and I just got tons of bacterial infections all the time, right? So here's the number one tip that you can employ to not get a sore throat. Drink a lot of water, alright? At least every half hour, water, but more often if possible. Get water, right? And drink it. Just a small sip every now and then, but do it. And when I say water, I mean water. No Fanta, Sprite, Coke, Mountain Dew, nothing with sugar in it. Water. No sugar. Why no sugar? Well, let's say you are a voice actor for a movie or for a TV show, and you arrive in your voice recording studio, right? The first thing the voice recording guys will tell you is, please don't drink or eat any products containing sugar before or during the recording. Why? Answer, sugar is sticky. If you have sugar in your mouth, the inside of your mouth is sticky. Your lips will stick together. Your tongue will stick to the roof of your mouth. Everything will just move a little bit more slowly. Everything will be a little bit more sticky. Every movement of your tongue, of your lips will be a little bit more audible. If you ever heard the following sounds, and they get amplified, right? If you have sugar in your mouth, because your tongue sticks to the inside of your mouth, your lips stick together, and so on and so forth. Note sugar. If you value the product that you are making, note sugar before or during a recording session. Alright? It's really easy. Drink water. Water. Drink water. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, Max, I use a headset. I cannot drink. Right? It gets in the way of the microphone. It doesn't work. Well, you're not alone. Every professional sports commentator ever uses headsets, right? Since the invention of headsets. Every esports commentator are using headsets, and tons of people who are producing videos, for example for YouTube, are using headsets too. And they all drink water. Often. At least if they value the health of their voice. So how come you don't hear them drinking water? 2 reasons. Either they have a cough button which is basically a mute button for the microphone, either on their table. And I think I will make a video on how to build one. It's pretty easy. Or they actually have a really cool headset that has a little switch right here, and you can lift the microphone and that mutes the microphone, which is pretty cool. That's reason number one. And here's reason number two. They get a drinking bottle. It's as easy as that. You know the drinking bottles with a little valve on top? You can drink like this out of the corner of your mouth. You can't even come close to your microphone. You can drink without touching your microphone. You just need to buy a drinking bottle, and that's not expensive at all. Okay, so that's the number one thing you can do to prevent getting a sore throat. All right? Number one thing you can do. It's easy, it's simple. Do it, okay? Do it. Number two, make breaks every hour or so. Stand up, stretch, take a couple deep breaths, make breaks. No voice actor in their right mind is doing 4-hour sessions at once. They are making breaks. Okay? Do breaks. All right, number three, avoid getting sick. Now this sounds a little bit strange because nobody is getting sick on purpose, right? Okay, that's right, but most people are actually not really trying to not get sick either, right? Especially people who travel a lot and who meet a lot of people get sick often. What can you do to prevent that? Here's an easy trick, okay? You have two hands. Right? You designate one of those two hands to be a people hand and the other one of those two hands to be a private hand, okay? Let's say, in my case, my right hand is my people hand. I greet people with my right hand. I interact with the environment with my right hand. But I never touch myself in the face with my right hand. I never touch my food with my right hand, okay? I don't touch my lips, my eyes with my right hand. Because this right hand is covered with the plaque, basically, right? Once you touch other people with it, it's basically covered with the plaque, especially if you fly into another country, right? There are other bacteria and so on there, so you will get sick if you do not take care. But the simple trick to avoid that is people hand, right? And private hand. Now this is the hand that I can scratch myself with and eat with, you know, and touch my eyes with, because this is clean. This hand is clean. I do not touch other people with this hand. I do not touch bathroom doors with this hand. I do this with my right hand. That's such a simple trick, and it works. It just works. A lot of people, like for example, Adam Savage, right? Mythbusters, do this, right? They do this because they travel a lot. They meet a lot of people, and Adam Savage does a TV show, so he cannot be sick much, right? It sucks to be sick. So what does he do to not getting sick? People hand, private hand. It's that easy, okay? People hand, private hand. Wash it regularly. Do not do that, right? Because if you do that, you just contaminated your private hand. It sucks. Just do it. It works really, really well, and it's really simple, okay? People hand, private hand, and wash it often. All right. So that's all I can tell you about sore throat. Now to the next problem. So next problem is hoarseness. All right. How do you even know if you are hoarse? Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes you're obvious, right? But a lot of times it's actually less obvious. There's an easy way to tell whether or not you are actually hoarse. Excuse me. Sing as high as you can. All right? And every time you sing, you might be hoarse, try to get as high again. And if you cannot get as high, if you can only get to then you are most likely hoarse. Because the high frequencies are the first that you won't be able to produce anymore if you are even a little bit hoarse. Okay? It's an easy test to show you whether or not you are actually hoarse. Okay. So what actually causes hoarseness? Shouting, all right? Loud singing, right? Excessive whispering or crying. Smoking or drinking, especially smoking. allergies or cancer, right? So that's basically what can cause hoarseness, right? I don't think you have cancer, so it's probably drinking, smoking, or whispering. Whispering is especially bad. Or shouting. What can you actually do to prevent getting a hoarse voice? What can you do to prevent it? It's actually not that difficult. The number one thing to prevent getting hoarse is warm up your voice. Your voice is made by muscles, right? Muscles need to be warmed up before they are used excessively. Before you run a marathon, you warm up. Before you do gymnastics, you stretch, right? Do the same with your voice. Do warm up exercises. You can do any of the exercises that I talked about in the last episode. They all work. And you should also do tongue twisters. Every time before you start recording a video, just do tongue twisters and a couple of those exercises, right? Not only will you reduce the risk of getting hoarse, but also your voice will sound a lot better, right? Your pronunciation will be a lot clearer. Because let's say you just stood up, right? Everything is half asleep and you're talking like this and nobody can really understand you, right? You're not Sylvester Stallone, right? Warm up your voice and you will soon see that you can talk a lot better. And as a bonus, you reduce the risk of actually getting hoarse. So that's number one. Number two, take breaks. Again, take breaks. Do not record for 4 hours in one sitting, right? Do small breaks. Number three, you have a microphone. Okay? You don't need to shout. You don't need to shout. You shouldn't whisper either, but talk in a normal voice. Do not try to be loud, okay? Talk in a normal voice. Try to be a little bit more quiet. Usually your microphone doesn't have or shouldn't have a lot of noise. If it has a lot of noise, maybe you have to be a little bit louder to get a better noise to signal ratio. But if that's the case, you should get a new microphone, okay? Try to talk a little bit more quiet. That's really good for your voice, okay? No alcohol or smoking before recording. Okay, so day before recording, no alcohol or smoking. Simple as that. Finally, if you tend to whisper a lot, I did tend to whisper a lot. Some people just tend to do that for some reason. Don't. It's really bad for your voice. Whispering is really bad for your voice. Really bad for your voice. And I don't mean quiet talking. Quiet talking is okay. But whispering like this, that's not good. Right? Not whispering. No whispering. Whispering is no good. So that wraps up this episode. Our final episode of voice. Right? Thanks for watching. And tune in next time.